Welcome back to FAQ Friday. I'm Executive Coach Andrew Beach, and I help professionals communicate their values so they can find great new jobs faster. Today, we're going to talk about how to reach out to people on LinkedIn, specifically hiring managers. What I've found, at least this week, is a lot of resistance from coaching clients on how to reach out to people and what they should say and how they should do it. There's a number of caveats here, and we'll go through those, but today is meant to be a tutorial on how to use LinkedIn, how to reach out to people, and how to have a dialogue, not about you, but about them. Now, personally, I've coached over 1,200 people, and that number is increasing. And I've been coaching for now about 12 years. And so what I've found is through personal experience of coaching and myself being out of work 4 times in my career, what works and what doesn't work. And I've been on LinkedIn now since its inception. I was actually invited by a good friend of mine to be part of that platform before it actually released to the public. So you can say I'm kind of a veteran when it comes to LinkedIn. And it has gone through some evolutions, but one fact remains, it's an exceptional place to find and meet people. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the chat or leave them as a question on Twitter. Just use the hashtag FAQ Friday. Okay, let's dive in, and I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so what you can see here is a general landing page, the home page on LinkedIn. Now, if I'm looking at anything on this screen, it's essentially this top box here that says search. This is a wonderful place for you to start any kind of thing with regards to reaching out to hiring managers. So in this case, I'm just going to search for people. The nice thing is LinkedIn does not require you to enter anything to do a search. Unlike Google or Bing or some of those other search engines, you actually have to enter a search string to do a search. So based on my network, I'm currently showing about 728,000 results. I have about, I think, 3,500 connections. So that gives me exposure to more people. So here's something to think about. The more people you're connected to, the more exposure you get outside of your own circle. Okay, so connect to more people. That makes sense. So that goes without saying. So if I'm personally looking for somebody in my area of interest, I can enter any kind of search string I want in this search box. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to use the right-hand side of the screen to filter based on my interest for a company. Somebody may have worked at the company in the past but held the same position I'm interested in, so I can get some perspective. So in this case today, I'm really interested in meeting people in talent development and a handful of companies. Because that's an area of interest of mine, we're going to use that as a first start. So I'm just going to type into the box talent development, and I'm going to do that at several different companies. And the nice thing about LinkedIn is they provide you Boolean search terms. All that is a fancy way to say, hey, I'd like to search more than one thing. So the companies I'm looking at are, let's say, NVIDIA, or Nike or NVIDIA. Okay, so the nice thing is this should bring me anybody's profile that has talent development keywords and those 2 company names in their profile. And so now I've narrowed that 720,000 down to 5,300. So this is great. So now I can come over to keywords. And the nice thing about people that are in a hiring capacity is they have a title in their a word in their title that demonstrates that they're a hiring manager. And that would typically be manager, or let's say director, or a VP, or a vice president. Let's put quotes around that. Vice president. Okay? Hopefully you can see this on the screen. If not, I'll catch it up on the replay when I do the edit. Okay? So let's do a search for that. So now I've cut that in half. So I went from 5,000 down to 2,500. Now, I'm very interested in seeing if there's any first degree connections. Wouldn't that be great if there were some? And there are. So if you have first degree connections, great. You can leverage those folks to find the right connection. But I'm wanting to meet new people. So I would start with my second degree connections. And so from here, what I would do logically is how many people in this list do I have the most shared connections with? Okay, so as I scroll down this list, I can see there's a VP at Nike, another person at Nike, talent development manager. So there's a number of people here that are in the company that I'm interested in and working there currently. So let's take, global talent acquisition. No, let's go to the next page. I'm looking for a different person. Okay. Director of Performance Development. Okay, so maybe I go with Sue. I don't know Sue, but I have 14 mutual connections, so that makes it more likely that the strength of my connections will encourage her to actually respond to my outreach. So talent development manager, career development, and performance management. So this is somebody I'd be interested in connecting with. So I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. Now there's two philosophies here, and I understand both of them. There's one philosophy that says old school LinkedIn, I should be putting in a note with every connection request that I make. My research shows that that's not true. A large portion of people will actually judge the quality of your connection based on your profile. So here's something to think about. One, you want to connect with new people and build your network. We talked about that earlier. Two, you need a good profile to do that. So if you have questions or concerns or things you want to ask about the profile, please leave that in the chat. So in this case, I'm going to leave a note. And all I'm going to say is use the name Sue. I see that we have a number of shared connections. We both have interest in developing people. Let's connect and continue the conversation. Andrew. I mean, this isn't and that's only 146 characters. You get 300 characters, so you could use a lot more. I find that a short message the first time around when you're connecting with somebody makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to go ahead and send that invitation. Now, the nice thing about LinkedIn, when they did their user interface, user experience, is they said, okay, based on your network and the person you just connected to, you might also consider connecting with these people. And so I wouldn't ignore this page. What I would do is I would look down this page and see if there's somebody at my target company, NVIDIA or Nike, and I don't see one, okay? So then I would just move on to the next person in the list. So I will actually click to go back and look at my list again. And so now, here's a vice president, global royalties. What I'm learning here is between those two companies, NVIDIA, maybe I should connect with only people in my location, Portland, Oregon. Okay. So that takes it down to a manageable number, 270. Let's also say that I want to make sure that their current company is Nike or NVIDIA. Okay. So even though I have this as a keyword, I maybe want to have that as a filter when I'm doing my search. Okay. So now I'm down to 122. So talent development manager, team and talent, design manager. So Anastasia Fielden looks like another good person to connect with. We have 4 mutual connections, 500 followers. Looks like she's been there just a couple years, came from school. Okay. So what I'm looking for here as I cruise down the profile is where is the overlap in our areas of interest? It could be a person. It could be a language. It could be school. Okay, so maybe we went to University of Tennessee together. That would be one. Center of Literacy. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the same one I did on the last one. Add a note and say, hi, Anastasia. I see that we have a number of solid connections in common. We both have an interest in developing people. would you please connect and continue the conversation? Connect to continue the conversation. Okay. Andrew. So there we go. That's 2. Now, how long did that take? I mean, we've been online live streaming right now for about 10 minutes. And what I encourage people to do is make 40 to 50 new connections per week this way. And so if you're doing 40 to 50 of these, it might only take you in half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour tops to look at the profile, search out the people, connect with them. And then when you connect, that's when the work starts. What I've found is they judge your connection request based on your profile, not based on what you write in your message box. So when they accept your profile connection request, you can then send them a message back to say, hey, thank you for connecting. In fact, looks like I just got a pop-up here. Oh, that's for somebody else. So that didn't apply. But not uncommon that during this time of the day, over the lunch hour, people are on their LinkedIn. At least it's lunch hour here, Pacific time zone. And so a lot of times people will look at their LinkedIn. Let me turn off my phone. Sorry about that. People on LinkedIn will people will get on LinkedIn because they're working during the day. They'll do that over the lunch hour. Okay. So this is a good way for you to reach out to those people. Now, the second half of this is actually handling the messaging piece. So when you get back to responding to them, we're going to actually handle that next week so that I can see if some of these people that I reached out to actually said yes, and then we'll continue the conversation next week. So let's go ahead and see if there's any questions here in the chat box. Okay, don't see any questions there. It's going to be a short and sweet one today. Upgrading my system, so had to put something together here quickly. And so I do appreciate you. I appreciate your time viewing this and for leaving comments and questions. I would really appreciate you sharing this with someone that you think might benefit because it's a very simple, easy tactic, a way for you to connect with new people that you haven't met and then see which ones say yes. So much like sales, I know it's a bad term for a lot of people, but for me, it has a different connotation, is that this is a good opportunity for you to meet somebody new and perhaps help them, give them contribution. And it's not always about what you can take out of the conversation. Okay. Well, thank you for visiting this FAQ Friday. Please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll see you next Friday. Take care.